let's qualify this immediately. And I really don't know what's going to happen in this particular game or what's going to be become of it. But let's try to map it out for you. We're ready for the Junior Championship ball game, and it was supposed to be between the Boulder Valley Comets and the A's of Denver. But what had happened was the A's of Denver decided, because they had too many injuries after their earlier ball game, they packed up and went home. So this is not an official championship ball game, I guess, if you can get that out or, figure that out in some way, because the Buckaroos just volunteered to play the Boulder Valley Comets in this championship. Now, I don't know if that means that the Boulder Valley Comets automatically are going to state. I think that's what it is, that they will automatically go to state because of the fact that the A's have, well, technically, they have defaulted. So they are out of the tournament. And Jerry Brummett, who has put this whole tournament on and has done a fabulous job, he will be joining us in the second, third inning of this ball game to really completely explain the situation. So even if the Buckaroos would happen to win this championship ball game, they would not go to state. I believe the Boulder Valley Comets are going no matter what, and that's just how it's turned out. So it kind of takes Frank a little bit off of this championship ball game because of the situation.
It does. That's too bad. It sounds like wrestling when they bring somebody else in, but when you get this far and you have that many injuries and they come all the way up here and just decide not to, that obviously the reason why we played the senior game in the middle and postponed that junior one, hoping they could come up with some more players that were legally signed up, but they just couldn't pull it off.
The thing about it is that we'll get more of the inside story from Jerry Brummett when he comes in, because I guess there's more of a story to it than that, and I don't know if Jerry will be willing to maybe share all the details, but nonetheless, it does take a little bit of sting off this championship ball game, because it really, again, we reiterate, it really isn't a championship ball game. Even if the Buckaroos would win this contest, they would not go to state. It's going to be the Boulder Valley Comets. And that just makes it a little bit tough. But we still got a ball game, and the Buckaroos, of course, are here from Fort Collins and the Boulder Valley Comets. Second time we've seen the Comets this afternoon. Saw them in the midget ball game. And, of course, they were able to win that ball game over the Buckaroos 15-5 now. It will be the Boulder Valley Comets and the Fort Collins Buckaroos again. This is quite a heated rivalry and a good one. So we should see some good baseball out here.
And Boulder will be out in the field first. Quickly running down the lineup for the Buckaroos, Tammy Gallatin will be playing shortstop. She'll be batting first. Denise Erickson behind the plate. She'll be batting second. Dania Renee, who is playing the third base position, batting third. Melissa Rasmussen playing center, batting fourth. Batting fifth, Lori Shea from right field. Carolyn Williamson, who will be pitching, by the way. She is batting in the sixth position, number 7th, Nice Wonder. She's playing second, batting eighth, Mary Furlong, the first baseman, and batting in the ninth position, Kim Wall, the left fielder. But right now, as we get underway here, 0-0 here at the top of the first. Tammy Gallatin batting first, trying to get something underway for the Buckaroos. First pitch in there, just inside for ball one.
And quickly, let's set the Boulder Valley Comets, and it'll be Kelly Borkus on the line or on the mound right away for the Comets. Catching this afternoon, Kelly Stewart, and we'll pick it up between pitches here as Kelly Borkus is ready to go.
Borkus puts one down the middle. There's a ground ball. Easy out, ground ball to the second base over there for the Boulder Comets. We've quickly got one out. Heidi Platt making the play at second base, but again, one out. Nobody on here at the top of the first.
So Heidi Platt is at second base, as Frank just mentioned. Don Davies is at first base. The third baseman is Alvarez this afternoon. Chris Camish is at shortstop, and there's a foul ball in a way. And it will be Jenny Ginger, I believe. Let's check. Groninger. Okay, I'm trying to read your writing here, Frank. It's a little hard.
It's not easy.
Anna Penny will be in center field. Right field is Britt Wright.
And up right now for the Buckaroos, 0-1 count. Now 1-1 as the ball bounced in the dirt by Borkus. Is Denise Erickson batting second, playing catcher. And Borkus taking her time out there, and she's got some speed. One right at the knees, must have been outside. The count will run to 2-1 now for Denise Erickson. The infield playing straight away basically is the outfield, medium depth. And pitch number 4 comes in, and it's going to raise the count to 3-1, and Borkus might be getting in some trouble early here.
And the umpires this afternoon behind home plate is Dwayne Settle, Mary Lou Rogers out on the bases.
Erickson ready for the 3-1 pitch. There's a ground ball again to second base. A great place by Heidi Platt, and she's got 2 putouts right away, and there's 2 down.
You know, it's kind of funny, Frank. I look out across the field, and I got to be very careful as my cousin is the head coach, and that's another one of my relation out there at second base. That's my little niece out there at second base. So I've got to be a little bit careful
to be careful
what I do. Don Davies is one of the assistant coaches over there, a guy I played softball with for about 12 years. So all these people here from Boulder Valley are I'm very familiar with.
They come back to haunt you quickly. 2 strikes now. Dania Renee, again batting in the third position. She's playing third base, and she's down 0-2. And the next pitch is in for a called third. Didn't think it was going to be, but Borges strikes out Renee on 3 pitches, and quickly it is the Buckaroos filling in now. Again, as you said, and we might explain that off and on throughout the broadcast. Quick 1-2-3 inning at the end of a half. We've got the Buckaroos representing Fort Collins nothing in Boulder Comets coming up to bat.
You know, the funny thing about it is that, like I said, Jerry Brummett is going to join us here, and we'll get the whole thing put together. But it seemed like I was talking with Bill Platt, head coach of Boulder Valley Comets, before the game, that there was really more to it than what everybody was saying. And like I said, we don't know until they get the thing going, but and we get Jerry Brummett in here. But just a little bit of an unusual situation that you would not play in a championship ball game. But their contention was just too many injuries, and that is the reason why we've got the Buckaroos who just really volunteered to play. That's what has happened here.
We noticed they weren't in uniform the whole time here. They kind of popped up, and it certainly is nice we at least have a ball game. Caroline Williamson, by the way, is out at the mound pitching for the Buckaroos. She just finished her warm-up tosses. And leading it off now for the Boulder Comets in their half for the bottom of the first will be Chris Kamen. Batting first, and she's in that shortstop position. And these Comets, they've had a great year. As far as the Buckaroos are concerned, overall on the year 20-12. So some quality ball clubs out here. And we had to wait for an overthrow at third base on one of the warm-up balls. We're ready to go now. Williamson stepping up to the mound, facing Chris Kamen, the #1 batter here for the Boulder Comets. High pitch, called a strike. Kamen didn't agree with it, kind of gaped her mouth open a little bit there, but there's an 0-1 count for you.
It's kind of funny because Chris Kames was looking down the third baseline, and I think some kind of play was on, and she missed a sign there.
I think she did. She swings at what would have been ball 1. It makes a strike 2, that ball in the dirt. She swung a little bit wildly. She's down in the hole 0-2 to Carolyn Williamson, the pitcher for the Bucks. Off-speed pitch, and that's strike 3. 3 pitches, 3 strikes for Williamson, and the Bucks off to a great start here. Would be something kind of ironic if they could pull off a victory over the Buckaroos. Now coming up, batting #2 for the Boulder Comets, Britt Wright. And she plays right field, #7. And she's the next one to face Williamson here with the big windup, and that one was not close. It bounced a good 10 feet in front of home plate for ball 1.
I tell you what, out on the mound, Williamson really has a good windup and a good delivery, and again, it's interesting in this particular ball game, in a game that really doesn't mean a whole lot, with the way things have come down, just to see these two teams go at it.
And there's a called strike. It'll go to 1-1. Lanya Alvarez, who plays third base for the Comets, is on deck, waiting for her turn. She'll get up because we've only got one out here at the bottom of the first. We are scoreless in the junior division. Low pitch swung on and missed by Wright, and now Williamson, even though falling behind 1-0, it's now 1-2. And the sun's starting to come out a little bit more here. We had some rain problems off and on in the earlier games.
It's turned out to be a perfect afternoon for softball. The rain was just kind of a nuisance earlier, but really what it did is cooled the whole thing off, and now it's getting a little bit warm out here.
It is, and Williamson really let go a rocket that went way over the head of her catcher, Erickson. And that'll even the count at 2-2. Wright has kind of a strange way of getting in that box. She twists that right foot in, then brings the left foot in, and now she's ready. And she just gets a piece on a fastball down the middle. It's going to foul it back.
I don't know if our mics are picking it up, but every time Williamson lets go of a pitch out there, you can tell she's putting her all into it, a little bit of oomph every time she lets
Jimmy
go.
Connors.
Yeah.
Here we go, 2-2 now. Williamson steps in. Infield in a bit for the #2 hitter, Wright. Off-speed pitch hit to the shortstop. That's going to come off for the Bucks. It's thrown almost in the dirt, and that's going to be an out. Out #2 for the Buckaroos. That ground ball handled very, very well for the Bucks. Tammy Gallatin And now we've got 2 outs and nobody on, and looks like we might have another 1-2-3 half of an inning here.
You're going to see some good softball again, as we saw in the seniors right here, because not too many errors are made on plays like this. You know, when you saw the midget, you know, these girls 12 and under, they go through all that training and they get better as they come along, obviously. And now you get into some really quality softball out here, and you're seeing it already this afternoon.
Alvarez batting third for the Comets, a big swing, and did get a piece of the ball, but it's going to be strike 1 nonetheless. Following Alvarez, Dawn Davies, big first baseman on deck. Batting helmet by her foot. She's ready to come on.
I tell you what, Dawn Davies bats anyway the way her father did. They got quite a number 4 hitter there.
Change up. Caught the outside corner. Had Lanya Alvarez totally baffled, and it's going to be 0-2 here. Again, we're in the bottom of the first of this junior fast pitch girls softball game. We are scoreless. And there's strike 3, swung on and missed, and we're going to have a throw to first base because Erickson dropped the ball, but she quickly picks it up and throws it over to first to Mary Furlong, and another 1-2-3 innings, so a very non-productive first inning for both ball clubs.
Both teams coming out here and a little bit tentative, but you know, these two teams have squared off many times throughout the season. And again, you look at the number of games played. The Buckaroos are 20-12, and you know that the Boulder Valley Comets are really played that many games also. And the thing about the Comets is that I know that they did a lot of traveling, a lot of tournaments in Nebraska. They went to Oklahoma for a while, down to Utah, and I think they even had a tournament in Arizona. So the Boulder Valley Comets have been on some road trips this year.
Every time you hear about the Comets and the Buckaroos, they're always going somewhere over the summer months, and it certainly is great chance for the girls to get out and get out of the state. It's certainly a growing process on that end, too. As far as the Buckaroos now, leading off the top of the second, Melissa Rasmussen playing center field, and she's taking a good long look down at her third base coach, who's flashing some signals. And for that reason, the infield's going to creep up a little bit because number 12 might lay one down here.
I tell you, the Comets are really strong at the corners as that ground ball goes to Heidi Platt.
Heidi Platt makes the put-out, and Doug out of 4 outs so far for the Boulder Comets defensively. 3 have been ground balls over to Heidi Platt at first base. And so we've quickly got one down. Again on the mound, Borkus for the Boulder Comets.
Borkus on the mound, Stewart behind the plate. And now we've got an official timeout here.
Off the red truck.
Let's see. Let's listen to home plate umpire Dwayne Settle.
Red and white pickup. She's got her blind spot with a reflection.
We've got a bit of a reflection.
Got a reflection that's going in the eyes of Borkus out there. And Kelly Borkus says, please move that truck, because when you look in there, what you get is the flashing sunlight off a windshield or some chrome out there. And so Dwayne Settle will have that vehicle removed, or at least try to have it removed.
And that's kind of the problem here, is we're getting a little bit later on in the afternoon, the sun coming down. We've got some reflections off those car windshields.
Nice thing about City Park South, though, is the fact that sun really never a problem that much for your fielders, though, the way the field is set up and it's the way it should be.
That's very nice. We are getting some shadows starting to creep onto the infield, but vision certainly not a problem, except for that car reflector coming off the sun. Again, if you just joined us, we're in the top of the second with 1 out. The Buckaroos and the Boulder Comets scoreless. As Kelly Borkus now steps to the mound, the problem with the reflection has been terminated, and the first pitch is a ball high. Batting now Lori Shea in the 5th position for the Buckaroos. She's the right fielder, and she's way back in that batter's box. She takes a called strike. It'll go 1-1 here.
We got Jerry Brummett going to join us here momentarily. When we take a break here at this half of the inning, we'll mic Jerry Brummett up, who has really run this tournament, done a fabulous job. He told me he was going to get this done last year, and he didn't lie to me. He got it done. So we'll be talking to him and about some different things, and basically about this ball game right here also. That just a little bit of a controversy, but we'll talk to Jerry about that.
And in the meantime, Borkus has thrown 2 consecutive balls. The count has run to 3-1. A good long look by Lori Shea down to third base. Do they want her to take this pitch, or will she swing away? I'm sure she'll probably get the green light here on a 3-1 count this early in the game. She takes a good rip and fouls it off, and that'll bring the count to full at 3-2. Again, 1 out here at the top of the second. Gorgeous day for softball.
It really has turned out well, and the Boulder Valley Comets, good ball club out here, and of course, as we mentioned, a lot of traveling, but Kelly Borkus pitching a pretty good game so far.
And she just plops one out in front of the plate. It hits home plate and rolls down the first baseline foul. Finally picked up there by the catcher for the Boulder Comets, Kelly Stewart, making sure that ball doesn't go back in fair territory. So we're all back to square one of 3-2 as far as Lori Shea is concerned. Infield, outfield, straight away. Two teams still trying to figure out where they're coming from. And there's ball 4 very high. And Borges puts her first runner on base with a walk in the form of Lori Shea, batting at number 6 now. The third person to come to the plate for the Buckaroos this inning, Carolyn Williamson, the pitcher. And will she lay one down to bring Shea over to second?
You know, the strategy in softball obviously is the move to run her over, so you can almost believe that she's going to bunt the ball if she can, but she takes a half swing at it.
And they're going to go to first with it instead of to second. And they get the one out. I think that was the intelligent play there because Shea really had to jump to second. And so what we've got now is 2 outs. Williamson with the out to first base. And Shea will move to second on the force to first.
Alvarez, the third baseman, made a great play over there as far as picking up that bunt. And really it was a half of a swing, so not really a bunt, but she made the play and did it wisely. But Buckaroos accomplished what they wanted to do, moved the runner over.
Now batting Carrie Nicewinter with a runner in scoring position. 2 outs here in the top of the second for the Buckaroos. She's playing second base in today's ball game. And the second pitch is a ball. So Kelly Borges kind of coming into and out of the strike zone. And she's gone to 2-0.
As we've got
there's ball 3.
We got our producer over here making all that noise. Let's tell everybody that's not. I was going to do the logical thing and wait till the half of the inning, but Tom over here is pretty excited. So now we got Jerry Brummett on mic here, and we'll talk to him in just a moment.
And Borges comes in with a strike on 3-1. She had to, so Nicewinter digging in here. Here's a big pitch. It's going to be low, ball 4, and Nicewinter's going to find herself on first base with a walk. And so now we've got Buckaroo runners on first and second with 2 outs. Batting in the 8th position, first baseman Mary Furlong to try and bring these runners around home, at least try and keep this inning going anyway, talking with the third base coach. Not exactly sure what they're saying here. It's her first time up in the ball game. But again, we're scoreless.
Glenn Stoll is the head coach of the junior Buckaroos, and he's just letting everybody know there's 2 down and he wants them moving.
First pitch fouled away by Furlong. If Furlong can keep the inning going, Kim Wall is in the on-deck position. But again, 2 on, first and second with 2 outs.
Could be a big inning here for the Buckaroos if they can keep it alive.
Kelly Borges in a bit of a jam.
And a little bit of hesitation by the home plate umpire, Dwayne Settle, and I thought he was going to call that a little outside, but he called a strike instead.
I think he put his right arm up and
had to go
bring
with
it down. That's right.
Had to go with it.
0-2 now. And there's ball 1 low and inside. And Furlong's going to step out of the box and check the signals again because it's important with 2 on and 2 out. Big right-handed batter. And there's going to be another ball, and that's going to even the count at 2-2. Borges a little bit erratic, but all in all, it's got some good speed and can change those speeds as well. And there's strike 3, kind of a half swing, and that'll do it for the Buckaroos in the top of the second. We have no runs, no hits, no errors, 2 walks and 2 left. At the end of an inning and a half, the Buckaroos and the Comets are scoreless.
And as we mentioned, we got Jerry Brummett. Can you hear us okay, Jerry? Is everything coming in all right there?
Very, very clear.
Okay, Jerry, first of all, it's a fine tournament, and I've already seen 3 or 4 people come up to you, and I'm sure there's been many more, and just very impressed with the way that Fort Collins and yourself have put on this tournament. You've got to be very happy with maybe not the way the games have turned out, but the way the tournament has turned out up here.
Well, I'll tell you, if something could happen in this tournament, I mean, it has happened. And as you know, yesterday we had several teams coming in from out of town in the senior tournament, and then all of a sudden Mother Nature decided that she was going to pour some water on us, and we got rained out at Lee Martinez, and thank goodness for the Parks and Rec and their cooperation with our program in this tournament, because they put us right over at Raleigh Moore, and we were able to finalize the tournament there and then come back into the championship play today. So it's taken a lot of people and a lot of hard work to put this tournament together, but so far it's gone very successful.
Comets are ready to go, Jerry, and we'll talk to you in between pitches here, as I believe Don Davies, number 4 hitter for the Comets, will lead it off here in the bottom half of the second.
And pitching for the Bucks, as she did in the first inning, Carolyn Williamson. She's already got 1 strikeout to her credit. Comes in with a strike high in the outside corner. And it's going to be 0-1. She flashes a smile this way. I don't think she thought that was strike 1 either.
Williamson is looking pretty sharp for the Buckaroos right now. She's pitching well.
She is. And here she goes with the second pitch of the bottom of the second. And that one's going to be way, way low, and it's going to roll to the backstop, but it only evens the count at 1-1. Again, the Buckaroos corners in a little bit close here, just in case we should get a bunt to lead off the inning. Sunshine becoming more prevalent here at City Park South. On deck, Heidi Platt, second baseman for the Boulder Comets. And we've got ball two, that one low and inside. It bounced before it reached the catcher for the Buckaroos, Denise Erickson. And Williamson trying to fix her shoe there. That might have been bothering her. Again, the count is 2-1. Bottom of the second, we are scoreless in this junior league game. Low, but it swung on and missed anyway. Dawn Davies took a good cut, but she didn't reach it. The count evens at 2-2. And now, as far as the bunt situation is concerned, they're not going to be laying one down here, so the infielder's moving back perhaps just a tad.
I think with this Dawn Davies, they're not looking bunt. I think she's quite a hitter for the Comets. And a great play by Williamson, the pitcher.
Sharp grounder to her right over to first, and that'll do it for one out. And she might have bumped one of the fingers on her pitching hand.
Let's get back to Jerry Brummett. Jerry, there's a lot taken off of this ball game here. Let's explain the situation why the Buckaroos are out here, big guy, because I guess technically they should not be here.
That's correct. What happened was that the A's out of Denver, Colorado, had advanced to play in the championship game, and they said that they had too many injuries and they were not willing to take the risk of playing this game because of the state tournament next year. So they decided that, without my knowledge and without me being here, that they would definitely go on and forfeit the game, which would leave us in a very precarious situation because of the tournament play. And so the Buckaroos volunteered to go ahead and play the Boulder Valley Comets instead. But the game has been decided. The Boulder Valley Comets are the champion of the second annual Buckaroo tournament in the age 15 and under.
Heidi Platt now with a count of 1-1. She took the first one for a ball. She fouled the second one back. And in the on-deck circle again, Kelly Stewart.
Jerry, what does that, as far as that goes in the A's of Denver, then their possibility or their chance of playing now is nil, obviously with them forfeiting out of this tournament, correct?
That's right. They, and it really puts it puts you in a bad situation because of the fact that Columbine has been so cooperative in helping us out and televising these games, and we wanted the championship play all the way through it. But I think the Buckaroos, they are a solid team, and they will give the Boulder Valley Comets a very good game.
Okay, the people that are not aware, the Buckaroos finished what place in this tournament? As Heidi's got a ground ball to third base, and they make the play.
They advanced through the semifinals and got beat in the semifinals, so they were one of the top 4 teams in this particular tournament. So they got beat out this morning, or they would be playing in this particular game.
So obviously, as we have talked about, the winners of this tournament are going on to state. Then, as we saw in the midgets, and then of course in the seniors, and now with Boulder Valley because of default, they are the 3 teams in those divisions respectively going on into the state tournament.
Not
correct?
necessarily so. The tournament is an invitational tournament, Doug, and the state tournament, any team in the state of Colorado can make application and belong in the ASA Association, can play in the state tournament. So it really had no bearing on that. It just had a bearing on the fact that when you run a tournament, you want the teams to commit themselves and go all the way through, and we all have injuries on the teams, and it's just one of those situations that a coach had a different philosophy.
Right now we've got a 2-strike count to Kelly Stewart, batting in the 6th position. No Boulder Comets have gotten on base so far against the fine pitching here of Williamson.
So basically, Jerry, getting back to the situation, the season is not necessarily over for the Buckaroos as far as that is concerned at all.
All the Buckaroo teams, all 4 of the Buckaroo teams out of the 5 teams that we have will be in the state tournament next weekend right here at Fort Collins at Roland Moore Park.
Okay.
So this was just an invitational tournament, and we try to invite as many out-of-state teams as possible, and just to make it one of the prestigious tournaments of the Midwest, and hopefully each year we grow, we'll become that.
Williamson not pleased with that last pitch. Very high. Went back to the screen. She's going to step up here and try and regain her concentration against Kelly Stewart. We've got 2 outs at the bottom of the 2nd. Bit of a changeup. Just did miss. Just did miss. I believe the count has gone to 3-1. Might have missed a pitch in between there.
Williamson pulled the string on that one and really had Kelly Stewart leaning for the Comets, and I think Williamson's thinking strike all the way on that pitch and didn't quite get the call.
Kelly Stewart didn't want to swing at that one. Well, we did have it wrong. It was 2-2. That'll be strike 3, and Kelly Stewart goes out on strikes. A 1-2-3 inning again, once again for Carolyn Williamson. And after 2 complete innings of play, we've got the Buckaroos nothing and the Comets nothing.
Okay, Jerry, let's talk a little bit then about the way this tournament. You started on Friday, and you started out with how many teams in this tournament?
We had 27 teams in the tournament.
So you got to be very happy with the way that turned out. Then
very happy. The only bad thing that really happened that made some quick decisions was the fact of the rain last night. And it seemed to be spotty. It wasn't raining on the southwest part of town, but it was on the northwest part of town, and it really came down. So that was the only problem that we had, and it worked out just great.
You know, so you got by this tournament, and with just the one incident that may, turn out to be pretty big, as I'm sure, as far as you're concerned. You've got the state tournament then that's happening next weekend. So Fort Collins really doing a lot for girls softball with holding all these tournaments.
Without a doubt, and the fact of it is, Doug, is that not only do we have the state tournament next weekend for all Class A, 3 divisions, 18 and under, 15 and under, and 12 and under teams, but then on August 3rd and 4th, we hold the regional tournament for the 18 and under. And, of course, Boulder, Colorado this year has the national tournament for 18 and under.
So everything is happening in Colorado, just kind of the way you wanted, you planned it. When we were talking, and it was about a year ago this time, it seems like all the things that you wanted to happen and to come true have come true.
The only thing that we missed out on was the national tournament this year, and we knew that we would really be pulling some real strong ties to get it here, but we come close to getting the 12 and under national tournament here, but we have made application for 87 and 88.
Here we go. It's starting the top of the third. Kim Wall batting in the 9th position for the Buckaroos. Takes high for ball 1. Still on the mound, Kelly Borkes for Boulder. If you remember last inning, the Buckaroos got two on the walk route, but couldn't bring them home. There's ball 2 bouncing high off the screen out of the dirt. So it's 2-0, but they stranded those 2 runners at first and second, so the game remains scoreless. On the other hand, the Comets have not gotten anybody on base.
Comets, really, I don't know. And I was just going to ask Jerry about this. I don't know if we can look for 100% from all the girls. I don't know if the edge of this ball game's already been taken off a little bit.
Well, sure it has, Doug. They've won the championship, and they came here with the idea that they were going to play the A's, and I'm sure they were very high with it. And then they come to find out that the A's have left and that they, don't have a game really. But the Buckaroos have volunteered to play them again, and they've already played them once during the tournament. So I'm sure there has been some of the edge taken off of it.
Here comes Borkes on a 3-1 pitch. It's very high, and Kim Wall is the 3rd Buckaroo to reach base via the walk. No hits so far in the ball game, so the very important first runner gets on.
So now with this tournament coming up next weekend, how many Buckaroo, obviously all the Buckaroo teams will be in it.
All but one. Well, we have all but 2. There'll be the competitive. We have Class A. We have 3 teams in Class A and 2 in Class B. So the Class A state tournament is this weekend, and Class B is the August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Aurora.
But
so
at one time or another, all Buckaroos will be.
All Buckaroos will be involved with the state tournament.
As I was going to say, before we go any further with talking with you, Jerry, how did you ever get the knack to be able to look from this side in the dugout and see 35 feet compared to 41 feet? In that midget ball game, they had the mound, they had the rubber in the wrong spot out there. You picked it off. I thought that was pretty good. What did you pick up?
When your pitcher is not throwing with consistency, it's pretty obvious to know that something's wrong, that they're pitching from too far from the pitching rubber, and that's the first thing we thought about. And then we were calling a lot of pitches on what she was supposed to be pitching, and the consistency just wasn't there. So that's the reason why we felt something was wrong.
Gallatin has laid down a bunt, and she'll get thrown out on a very close play at first base. Moving over to second on the throw to first is Kim Wall, so she advances now to second. Very nice bunt by Gallatin, but again, the put out catcher to first.
I was getting back to that. Was there any chance of any controversy, Jerry, with that change? Did that make any difference at all? Could have Boulder Valley at any time, or yourself, say, hey, wait a minute, we had that problem. Was a protest ever could be valid in that situation?
Yes, it could have been. And what would have happened in that situation, Doug, the game would have been started over with the 35-foot rubber.
Well, I just, nothing changed from the point of when they changed the rubber. I was very curious, and we were commenting on the broadcast if there was a possible protest that could be lodged right here by either ball club, as a matter of fact. And at that time, you had a 1-0 lead, so I didn't think we'd probably see anything from you, but I thought maybe from Boulder Valley.
Well, there could have been, but we played each other so many times this year, and yesterday we just played them a Super Bowl game, but they've got some real ability on that team, and our kids are just now starting to mature and coming along. So we think we'll be ready for the Boulder Comets during the state tournament and give them a lot better ball game. But anytime the Buckaroos and the Comets play, I don't care what has happened. We talked about that edge before. It's going to be a good ball game.
Denise Erickson right now faces a 1-2 count. Her teammate Kim Wall on second with 1 out here at the top of the third. We are scoreless in this junior game. There's a ball. That'll even the count at 2-2.
I was going to say, the Buckaroo organization with you, really the king, if I may say, of the organization, because I don't see anybody, and I'm sure there are, and I don't want to get you in trouble. This is just me speaking, working as hard as you are, Jerry. What, as 85 is coming to a close here, did you accomplish everything you wanted to this year?
we thought we have accomplished a lot. But believe me, anytime you have an organization that's on the ground floor but is growing as fast as the Buckaroo organization, there's a lot of people involved and a lot of effort, dedication, and commitment. And we have those kind of people, so the Buckaroo organization will do nothing but grow and become very prominent in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Denise Erickson has ripped one right up the middle, and that'll bring her to first and bring Kim Wall over to third. So we've got runners on the corners with only one out, and that will bring up Renee, who last time up struck out. So now we've got, again, runners at the corners, one out, top of the third. We're scoreless. Renee's going to look down and take some very close signs here. Anything could happen. I'm sure the Comets, Doug, thinking perhaps a turn two on a hard-hit ground ball.
Well, obviously, that's what they're going to try to do right here. They'll probably let the run score. Anything hit hard up the middle, they'll be thinking, too.
Borkus comes in with the first pitch for a strike. There's a quick throw down to third to check Wall, and in the meantime, sneaking down to second base is Erickson. Very smart. So she's not only got the first hit for either side of the ball game, she's doing some heads-up base running. So now we've got runners on second and third and kind of erases that double play possibility. The second pitch must have caught the outside corner. It is now 0-2. Renee, two runners in scoring position.
We're going to have a chance here to talk with Jerry, and he can probably go over some of these hitters with us. I imagine you've had these girls at one time or another, Jerry, so it's probably very satisfying for you to see them down in the juniors and playing.
Well, it is. It definitely is. And Glenn and Karen have both done a super job with these young ladies. But there's a lot of young girls on this team for a competitive team, and these girls are going to be together for another year or two, and they're going to do nothing but mature and become very sound. But this is one of the things we're fortunate with here is have two people like Karen and Glenn that have done such a good job and understand the strategy involved with the game.
There's a pop-up Renee behind home plate, and fortunately for the Buckaroos, it is dropped by the catcher, Kelly Stewart. Kind of a tough ball to turn around and catch on, so now she stays alive. They counted 0-2, and that certainly is a break here, trying to bring at least one run home with a base hit. Borkus with the pitch, swing and a miss, strike three. Renee goes down on strikes.
And you can look back at that as a big strikeout, Frank, because now with two down and runners at second and third, the Comets might be able to pitch their way out of this problem.
That's for sure. Second and third, two outs now, and the batter is Rasmussen. And she takes a rip right up the middle. That'll bring in at least one run. Here comes the throw to the plate, and that'll cut the second one off from scoring, but the throw gets behind the catcher. There's the throw, and she's going to get nailed coming around at home. So Erickson trying to score from from third on the overthrow after the signal gets thrown out at the plate, but the important part for the Buckaroos, they have scored one. And after 2.5 innings, it is the Buckaroos 1 and the Comets nothing.
Since we got Jerry mic'd up here, we'll just continue to talk with him, and we'll take our breaks a little bit later, so alert everybody in the truck. Jerry, you know, as you get going and you move ahead, I was looking at some of the things that you've done out here. Obviously, I see a bunch of green signs, and maybe the camera people can pick that up, of all the sponsors you've got behind the Buckaroos and obviously part of this tournament. And again, it was something that you're looking to do, and you've got the business community now behind the Buckaroos, it appears anyway.
It's just done super. This is one of the things that we did for our fundraiser, and we really want to thank all the sponsors for helping each of the individual girls, because this is how they raise their money that they were budgeted for their respective teams. And I have to apologize because we still have 16 banners that aren't completed yet, but they will be next week for the state tournament. And we've tried to promote as much advertisement as we can with these sponsors at all the tournaments. And right now, most of these banners have been up at over 100 games at respective tournaments and Wednesday night play. But without these kind of people supporting our program, we would really have a difficult time operating without these young ladies going out and finding these types of sponsors for them.
You know, you're talking about the regional tournament being held here in Fort Collins, and the nationals are being held where, Jerry?
In Boulder, Colorado.
And down in Boulder. So, again, everything in Colorado. The thing about it is that with this kind of play and this kind of enthusiasm and you know, not a bad crowd here this afternoon, it seems like everything for you is snowballing.
It's doing nothing but snowballing, and you know, I guess you have to look at, I'm sure my wife wonders where I'm at times because of the involvement and dedication it takes to put this together. But, you know, I'm involved with coaching with a young group of girls, and I'll tell you what, when you just go out there and work with those young ladies, no matter what age it is, from the 12-year-olds up to the 18 years old, and see how they improve and how they go on and get scholarships into college, and that you've been a part of their life and they've been a part of your life, that's what the program's all about.
you know, for 1985, Jerry, is there anything that you did not accomplish or something that that the Buckaroos still are thriving for or trying to get done before this whole thing is over?
I think that there is, Doug. I think the main thing is that we think that there's a lot of athletes in Fort Collins, Colorado that we'd love to have as part of the Buckaroo organization, and that's what's going to be our goal for 1986. We'd like to have our tryouts in the fall this summer so that we can have those girls and know that they're going to be part of our program, and it's going to help all of us become better and the teams become better as well.
Jerry, we want to thank you for stopping by here, and of course, a tournament that you put on up here, a great one, and we want to remind everybody that it's softball is not over in Fort Collins. Plenty more to see next week.
A lot more, and at Rollamore Park, all 3 divisions will be there starting Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and we'd like to invite everybody out there. And personally, Doug, we'd like to thank very much Columbine Cablevision for their support and taking the time to televise these 3 championship games.
Jerry, we want to thank you, too, and we appreciate it, and if all goes well, we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Jerry Brummett, of course, a big part of the Buckaroo organization and, of course, the head coach of the Midgets. Had a tough ball game today, but as you mentioned, he'll be back here on Saturday, and they'll be going at it again. Frank?
Renee just made a great play, Doug, at an 0-2 count on Anna Penny. She just barely nipped Penny on a very good throw to first baseman Dawn Davies. So we've got 1 out, and the important thing, Carolyn Williamson continues to cruise along as she just blows one by the number 8 hitter for the Comets, Groninger. So we've got nobody on, 1 out in the 3rd, and the Comets have yet to reach base safely.
Well, the Boulder Valley Comets, a very explosive ball club, so you know, you wonder if the pace that Williamson is going at right now, she can keep it up. And it appears like so far she's really moving along with very little trouble.
And, you know, certainly we don't like to make excuses for people, but I think the question you posed to Jerry Brummett just moments ago, there might have been a letdown here. That's nothing taking away anything, certainly from Carolyn Williamson, who's pitching a fine ball game. And she's going to come on in here with a 2-strike pitch, a ball low, so it's going to go to 1-2 on deck. The pitcher, Kelly Borkus, for Boulder. No designated hitters used here in the Junior League contest right here.
The Comets are strong top to bottom.
And there's a ball high. Looks like she took a bit off that one, 2-2. She has kept these hitters consistently off balance here. The first batter, Anna Penny, drilled one just foul down the third baseline. The second one, Williamson threw a changeup and had her way out in front. So she is a marvelous ball game to this point anyway. And there's a changeup, and there's a ground ball to the short, to first, and no, it's going to get beat out. Give Groninger a hit. There was not a very hard hit ground ball to the shortstop, Gallatin, who made a nice pickup and a throw, but just couldn't get it over there in time.
And good speed shown by Groninger to hustle down the line, so they pick up an infield hit, and the Comets trying to get something going here.
So we've got a runner on first. That is a first base hit, base runner, for that matter, for the Boulder Comets. So we've got a runner on first, 1 out. Batting ninth is Kelly Borkus, the pitcher. Always interesting when pitchers face each other. Here comes the first pitch. It's going to be high and outside for a ball. It looked like Borkus squared around, might have laid one down there to move the runner up. It is 1-0 Buckaroos.
Well, with the score 1-0, obviously they want to move the runner over and get him into a scoring position. And again, as we talked about, the real strategy in softball.
Borkus stepping on in. And she's taking a long look. Williamson shakes off the first side, comes in with the windup for the second. Looks like a bunt. It bounces on the plate. That'll be a ball. And in the meantime, with the confusion of the ball hitting the plate, is Groninger going to second. And on the overthrow, she's going to go to third. That ball gets past the third baseman. She's going to try and score the throw at the plate, and she's out of there. Wow, what a throw. To home plate for the Buckaroos. The Buckaroos running off the field. It's only 2 outs, though.
They were pretty excited. It was a great throw to the catcher, and give a lot of credit to the Buckaroo catcher because she held her ground, and she blocked the plate from Groninger. There's no way that she could score with a perfect throw.
The throw came in to the catcher, Denise Erickson, and there was a mighty collision at home plate, but she held on to the softball, and now we've got 2 outs, and the bases are empty. So now the concentration can now go to the base hitter Kelly Borkus. Here comes Williamson now.
Williamson behind 2-0 here to Borkus, and now it's 3-0.
So I'm sure the Comets a little mad that if Borkus would get on, that the happenings turned out the way they did, but that's good. It's exciting softball when you try and run like that.
Well, now instead of 1 out and a person on base, they have 2 out and nobody on base.
They're going to bluff the bunt here on the 3-0 count, and Borkus is the second person to reach base for the Comets this inning. she's via the walk. Of course, Groninger got thrown out at the plate moments ago. She got an infield single. And now batting is Chris Kamen. She grounded out to short to open up the bottom of the first for the Comets. They still trail here in the bottom of the third, 1-0. Williamson now has that runner on first to worry about. The 0-0 pitch comes in inside, and there was a thought that Borkus was going to take off after that pitch, but she didn't. Kamen 0 for 1 on the ball game.
Buckaroo's playing straight away right here to the leadoff hitter, or the number 1 hitter, let's say not leadoff hitter in this inning, but the number 1 hitter, who is Chris Kamen, and she swings and misses for the strike call.
It is now 1-1. Third baseman Renee guarding that line. A single won't bring that run home, but a double down the line might. There's a ground ball foul down the third baseline. Renee chasing it down. He's going to let it go. Count goes to 1-2. And we do have quite a few people coming on in here, Doug. Again, that confusion as far as the senior game being second this afternoon now cleared up with Jerry explaining that to us.
And it's really unfortunate the way that all came down.
It certainly was. Here's the pitch, strike 3, but it's dropped by the catcher, Erickson. She's going to have to throw to first, and she does, and that's the third out.
Really didn't have to, Frank, because first base was occupied. So really it was still going to be a strikeout, but they went through the motion and got it done anyway.
We had no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left after 3 complete now. It is the Fort Collins Buckaroos 1 and Boulder Comets nothing.
And with this timeout in between innings, we'll take this timeout and come back to City Park South right after this.
For health, fitness, and fun, watch Healthward Monday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. and Sunday at 11 a.m.
Welcome back to City Park South. We've got a ball game just now entering the top of the fourth. It is a junior league game. The Boulder Comets are trailing the Fort Collins Buckaroos 1-0. Leading off for the Buckaroos here in the top of the fourth, Lori Shea. She walked way back in the second inning and reached second before that inning ended. The only person to score a run was Kim Wall, the number 9 hitter for the Buckaroos. She did that last inning. She walked and eventually came home. That is the only run of the ball game. And right now, I believe we have a new pitcher in the ball game. And we don't have her identified as of yet for the Boulder Comets.
We'll try to pick up a number on that, and if you got the lineup, that'll make it easier. So,
but
we'll
we do know who's up, and it's Lori Shea.
We'll pick that up. We'll pick the change up here in just a moment.
Batting from the right side of the plate here. Swing, there's a ground ball to short. Took a big hop. There's a long throw to first, and there's the out. Nice play over there on short by Chris Kamen. And Lori Shea has grounded out to short. And we've got one down here in the top of the fourth. The new pitcher is Jenny Peterson, number 51 for the Boulder Comets. Again, Jenny Peterson now pitching. And she's not having any problem. The second pitch, ground right back to Peterson. There's the throw, and that's going to retire Carolyn Williamson, the pitcher for the Buckaroos, doing such a fine job. And we've got 2 pitches and 2 outs here, Doug.
Well, right now, with the change by the Comets, and I'm sure that Borkus was just letting her have a couple pitches out there. And, of course, with the Comets, they have the luxury, Frank, of doing about anything they want out there with the championship already wrapped up. So Jenny Peterson getting a shot here this afternoon.
Perhaps resting Borkus's arm. And Peterson doing a great job now stepping into the box. Second baseman Carrie Neiswender, who takes a big swing and a miss, so it's going to be 0-1.
You look at these Boulder Valley Comets, you wonder how they grow them so big. Each one of these girls is quite a tall drink of water out here.
They really are, and that'll be a called second strike. And ever since coming in here, Jenny Peterson has done nothing but throw strikes, and she's quickly ahead of Neiswender. 0-2, and there's a pitch that I'm sure slipped out of her hand for 1-2. Neiswender got up in the second inning, and she walked and was stranded at first.
Got one to waste there. Have one to waste.
You bet. Back in that second, the Bucks had two gifts in the form of walks, but they stranded those two. And there's the two-strike pitch right up the middle, base hit. Just got under the shortstop's glove over there, Chris Kamen, and a good solid hit for Neiswander. And that is the third hit of the ball game for the Buckaroos. Again, the top of the fourth with 2 outs. They are up 1-0. Stepping up now, Mary Furlong, the second baseman. She also batted in that second inning, but she struck out to end the festivities.
Let's check it. We might have a change here as they're making a change over here, and I'm not sure. Let's check it.
Varenwald is going to be batting for Furlong, so we'll insert her name into the lineup. Varenwald, we assume, in for Mary Furlong. And the count is 0-1 now.
Well, this is an opportunity for both teams to substitute freely and let everybody, at least if they haven't had a chance to play in this tournament, this is the opportunity that they can have to get in.
Very loose pace here. The 0-1 pitch coming in by Jenny Peterson. It's going to bounce, and that is going to allow Neiswander to go over to second base on the, call it a passed ball. So now she's in definite scoring position on perhaps a single, certainly a double, as the catcher for the Boulder Comets is adjusting her equipment, Kelly Stewart. And they're waiting for her to put her mask back on. It is back on. And there's a ball high, and the count strings up to 2-1 now. Infield in a little bit.
Jenny Peterson really looking pretty smooth, and she went right through the first 2 hitters, now having a little bit of trouble.
And she got jammed on that pitch. She's going to hit a slow roller over to the first baseman, who flips it over to the second baseman. Call that Davies to Platt. And that'll end the inning for the Buckaroos. We have no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left after 3.5 innings of play. It's the Buckaroos 1 and the Comets nothing.
So the Buckaroos putting on a very good showing here this afternoon in this, I guess you would call it a mock championship ball game, because we'll continue to mention that the A's of Denver were supposed to be in the championship ball game, elected not to, really citing too many injuries, and they were looking ahead to the state tournament is what they were doing, which the state tournament will be held in Fort Collins here next week. So they thought they better go home and take care of all the injuries, and in doing so, not in the championship ball game. So we've got the Fort Collins Buckaroos in the matchup here with the Comets this afternoon. Just so indeed we have a championship ball game, because really they owed it to the Comets really to field a team out here so they could play in the championship. It's just kind of unfortunate it comes down the way it did.
Caroline Williamson stays in as pitcher here as we enter the bottom of the fourth. She has just faced 1 over the minimum through the 3 innings that the Boulder Comets have come to the plate. She has given up a hit and a walk, but that hit was erased at a play on the plate, so she's only 1 over the limit right now. Batting for the Comets, Britt Wright, the right fielder. She came up in the first inning, and she grounded out to shortstop. And so she's 0 for 1 on the day's proceedings. First pitch, very high, ball 1.
You got to like the confidence that Williamson, the pitcher for the Buckaroos, is really showing right now. She's going after every hitter, really not wasting any pitches, just keeping that ball right in the zone, and just the old, hey, I dare you to hit it.
It's kind of like practice, as you said. Nothing to lose here. That ball was very low. It's 2-0. She's had very little problem on wildness, even though these first 2 have been nowhere near the strike zone.
Sometimes you really look at a situation like this and you get more out of your ball players when they can play this way, when they can play just a little bit looser and take a few more chances and see sometimes that they can get away with them.
And that'll be ball 3. So Williamson has fallen behind Britt Wright to the on-deck seeker, Lanya Alvarez, to try and keep this thing going. And I'm sure that there's going to be a no-swing all take all the way on this pitch, and it's ball 4, very high. Britt Wright, the second walk given up by Williamson, is going to reach first base.
Didn't miss by much, really did not. And Williamson trying to keep it in the zone. Struggled a little bit with Britt Wright, and now we'll face Alvarez, the fine third baseman for the Comets.
Alvarez struck out to end the first inning. The Comets did not reach first until the 3rd inning. And there's a nice bunt. It's going to die in front of home plate. There's going to be a throw to first. It's not going to be in time. As a matter of fact, it gets by the first baseman, the right fielder, all the way into right field. This will bring 1 Comet in. Alvarez is on her way to 3rd, and the throw finally coming into the infield is going to hit the bat or the umpire, one or the other. It's going to scoot behind home plate, but she's going to stop at 3rd. Wright has scored, and we're tied up.
Kind of tipped the umpire there a little bit, and I don't know if that was a help to the Buckaroos or a hindrance, but Alvarez does not score, but just kind of a bad throw. That was a perfect bunt, though. It died, as you mentioned, right in front of 3rd base, and with that, the throw was so wide it got by the first baseman, got by the right fielder, and the Comets put a run up on the board.
The Buckaroos were backing up, but it was one of those throws that just took one of those bounces, and Coming up now, Dawn Davies going to rip one down the left field line, just foul.
Thought that ball was going to stay fair, but it didn't do it. And if it had of Frank, we're talking a lot of extra bases there.
Davies grounded out to the right side of the infield, their first time out. And you're right, Doug, they would have brought home the runner on third in the form of Alvarez. But Davies, for all their work, is only down 0-1 in the count. But there's nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth. They have now tied it up. Williamson fastball that's going to get popped to right field, and there's going to be a tag. Alvarez is coming in from third. There will be no real throw to the plate. The right fielder for the Buckaroos, Lori Shea, really no chance. So call that a sacrifice fly for Dawn Davies, and that's going to bring home the lead run. It is 2-1 now for the Comets.
The ball not on line at all, and Williamson, the pitcher, very wisely just cut it off, and they didn't really have a play at the plate anyway, and so with that, the Comets are able to get the lead here, and just kind of some unfortunate play by the Buckaroos because they were going along so nicely. The wild throw into right field has set this all up. Checking now third base, contending that Alvarez may have left too soon, and the call is going to be no call, safe.
That appeal play, which of course hurts you not. Williamson legally, I believe, had to step on the rubber, step off, make the throw to third is how it goes. But she has nobody on. Now there's a ground ball. Heidi Platt now batting ground ball to short to first. Nice play there. Buckaroo's shortstop there, Tammy Gallatin, and that'll be 2 outs now here in the bottom of the fourth. Great play.
You've seen some good infield play and some good outfield play by the Buckaroos, and there Gallatin just scooped up a short hop. Kind of let that hop play her, but she was able to scoop it up anyway, and a good throw in plenty of time, and the Buckaroos trying to work their way out of a jam here.
Now the fifth batter of the inning for the Comets. They have 2 outs, but they brought those other 2 runners around. There's ball low for Williamson. Kelly Stewart, the second baseman, make that the catcher. She struck out to end the second inning. So she's looking for her first trip, I guess we could call it base hit. But I'm sure she'd take a walk here. Williamson with the wind. Took a bit off that one. Had Stewart way out in front. That'll even the count at 1-1. Nice change up there.
The one thing about Williamson, and I don't know if she's getting help from the bench because she looks to Glenn Stoll all the time, but she is changing and mixing her pitches up very, very well. She's just really looking at the hitter, then looking over at Glenn, and I don't know if she's actually getting any signals from the bench, but if she is, they are the correct ones.
And there's a fastball. It's going to be low. It's going to be 2-1 to the catcher, Stewart. We've got straightaway infielders and outfielders. And the bad news for the Buckaroos here, even though they're playing great softball, they have now relinquished the lead. 2-1 Comets here in the bottom of the fourth.
Well, they battled earlier in this tournament with the Comets being victorious at that time, but this is always a good ball game.
Change up, strike 3, and that'll do it.
Well, it appears,
strike 2.
Appears, Frank, that we missed one pitch from Dwayne Settles, so
that'll be strike 2.
They'll have strike 2. And
Kelly Stewart.
Williamson will still work on it here.
Got to cross that out in my book. maybe Williamson can still get her. There's a changeup that time. Is strike 3, and that'll wrap up the inning. But 2 runs for the Comets, and they toss to first just in case that was officially dropped by Buckaroo catcher Denise Erickson. But the big thing after 4 innings in that bottom of the fourth, there were 2 runs scored on Buckaroo pitcher Carolyn Williamson. So after 4 complete, it's Comets 2, Buckaroos 1.
You know, as you look out and the way the whole day has turned out for this tournament, really just a beautiful day. And the Buckaroos getting a second chance here really doesn't, the one thing it does do for them, Frank, gives them another ball game here. And we got to keep talking about them for the Buckaroos at least. This is an invitational tournament with the state tournament coming up this Saturday. It's just a situation where it's just kind of neat. Bill Platt going out to talk to the umpire. Let's see what he has to say.
Welly for who?
Welly for right.
Right.
And Nelson for Groninger.
Okay.
So just we were able to pick up a couple of changes out there as Nelson's going to come into the ball game, it appeared like, and I didn't catch the first one, but Nelson will be coming in for the Comets and someone else. So just a couple of changes, and as we mentioned, everybody's going to get a chance to play in this ball game.
And as speaking of changes, the Buckaroos themselves here are going to make a couple of changes in the form of their first 2 batters. Making her first appearance starting off the top of the fifth, it's going to be Tammy Maxwell. She'll be batting in the 9th position for Kim Wall, and I believe hitting behind her will be Jenny Schubert. She then will enter the first position for Tammy Gallatin. So
What this has done for the Buckaroos especially is, you know, you get in a competitive tournament, and a lot of times not everybody gets a chance to play in the ball game. And now with this ball game coming up the way it is, everybody's going to get a shot to play in the tournament, and it just really lifts the whole ball club's morale and just helps everybody look ahead to the next tournament. And for a coach, here's an opportunity to maybe to see a ball player in this type of situation, maybe do some things that you didn't really expect.
Tournament play, it's a little bit different. Some might argue that. The Buckaroo is certainly playing a lot of tournaments all year long as Maxwell takes high for ball one. Again, this is her first appearance and pitching for the Comets as she did last inning.
And she
Jenny Peterson
lifts a foul ball here, and Don Davies trying to make chase there, but didn't have a chance to get to it.
So the count will even 1-1, and she ran that one all the way to first base. I always had a problem throwing my bat. You always have that problem? I notice that these girls always lay their bats down, which is nice when you're a catcher not to have that bat get flung around. I got called out more times on beating catchers with the bat. But anyway, here comes the 1-1 pitch, and that's going to get laced right up the middle, but coming in, making a great play, the center fielder for the Boulder Comets, Anna Penny.
You know, the thing about it is that they must have the scouting report well on Maxwell, because Anna Penny was playing a very, very shallow center field. I guess in a normal situation, you wouldn't expect her to get to that, but with that kind of play, Anna Penny made it look easy.
And here comes the #1 hitter in the lineup now, Schubert, Jenny Schubert. She hits the first pitch right up the middle for a base hit. And wow, what a hit that was.
As close as Anna Penny was playing in center field again, I thought she was going to try to make a throw to first there.
So she, in effect, was batting for Gallatin. So this will bring up the #2 hitter who's played the whole game, the catcher, Denise Erickson. She hit a single back in the third and grounded out in the first, so she's 1 for 2. And she takes a big swing and a miss. And closely being checked at first is Jenny Schubert. So we've got 1 on, 1 out. At the top of the 5th, the Comets are ahead of the Buckaroos 2-1. Erickson taking her time getting in. Here comes the next pitch, but that's going to be low for a ball.
The catcher Stewart for the Comets looking back, the runner every time.
And I think that's a good procedure to get into, because sometimes the catcher, with all they have to do, can sometimes fall asleep and can cost you. There's a ball high. So right now, Peterson has fallen behind Erickson. Again, 1 for 2 on the ball game. The only run scored, Kim Wall, who has now exited the ball game. And she scored that, getting a walk and coming all the way around and a couple of overthrows. There's a swing and a miss. That'll be strike 2. I believe it is 2-2 now.
Jenny Peterson for the Comets on the mound, struggling just a bit right here. Having a little bit of trouble just laying it in the zone here. Let's see if she'll come back. Looking for just to throw some good heat right here.
And there's a ground ball right back at Peterson. She's going to go to second, but the throw is in the dirt. And what that means is Schubert's going to go into second safely. Make that an error on the pitcher Peterson, who probably should have went to first with that one, but it's easy for me to say at this time.
Well, Kamish was a little slow at short, getting over to second base, and you're right. The play all the way should have maybe just went over to first base, because the whole thing developed too slowly out there, Frank, and the shortstop didn't get there in time. If you look where Kamish plays, at short, she plays way on the third base side.
Next Buckaroo hitter steps in, takes a big swing and a miss. It is Renee, who plays third base. She struck out both times she's come up, but she's got a golden opportunity here to try and tie this game up with runners on first and second and only 1 out. There's another swing and a miss. And so quickly, the
she's
count
looking
goes
to do it
0-2.
with one swing there, Frank.
She is, I think so. And she's going to take her time on this one.
Checking the signals from third base coach and head coach Glenn Stahl.
Karen Schubert over on the first base side, also clapping encouragement. Here comes the 0-2 pitch, and there's a ground ball back to the pitcher again. Peterson goes to third, and very fine play there will force Schubert at third. That'll move Erickson to second, and Renee on the fielder's choice will go to first. And now all that's changed is first and second and 2 outs.
Well, again, a very heads-up play, and Alvarez, a tough third baseman over there, stayed right on the bag, so no problem. And possibly Jenny Peterson, with the problems she's had this inning, can work her way out.
Peterson thought she caught the inside corner, but not so. Batting for the Buckaroos, Rasmussen takes ball 2 outside. There's a quick throw to first, but
that's dangerous.
Buckaroo runner on second scoots over to third. Wow, intelligent play there.
I'm not sure that Stewart maybe forgot that there was a runner at second and really thought she had a legitimate chance at first base.
They tried to get Renee off first, but in the meantime, Erickson kind of snuck over to third, and there's a big swing and a miss. by Rasmussen. Trying to bring that runner in a little bit easier now from third base. The count is 2-1.
Peterson trying to work here, trying to work herself out of jam with runners at the corner.
It'll be high for ball 3, and they're going to send the runner from first down to second, and the tag was missed. Looked like they had it from here, but I guess not. And Denise Erickson's going to scamper home on the throw to Renee. The throw was there, the tag was not.
Comets are going to chat a little bit, and again, the shortstop was a little bit slow, and really it's the second baseman's play, but the shortstop took the throw. Now Bill Platt is out here, and he's going to have a chat, and he's wondering where the tag was, and I thought the tag might have been a little bit high, but the whole thing, again, for the Comets developed slowly. If you look at the shortstop, she went ahead and took the throw, and that's Kamish out there. She's playing the third base side, so she was very slow in getting to second base. They still had a legitimate chance to get her, but it didn't work.
What it means is the Buckaroos have tied up this ball game with 2 outs. And we've got Renee on second.
Go-ahead run at second base.
You bet. Rasmussen up now, facing a 2-2 count. And a hit of any great length would make that 2-1 count now 2-2, would bring that runner in. But the Buckaroos ecstatic to tie this thing up here in the bottom of the 5th. Here comes the 2-2 pitch right back at Peterson. Easy play to first. And that'll do it here in the top of the 5th. And they get 1 as the Buckaroos 2 and the Comets 2.
And with that, and again, right here in the middle of the innings, we'll take another timeout. We'll come back to City Park South right after this.
HBO, it's got great nighttime entertainment. But what if you don't watch TV all night? Your evenings probably look like this. Okay, so what do you do during the day? You have a job? You do? Call in sick and watch HBO. You're going to be sick anyway if you miss HBO, because the new daytime movie lineup is unbelievable. Every morning, a new movie. Have breakfast with Conan and get some beef with your eggs. Or watch The Last Starfighter, and you could eat astronaut food or something. So, what's for lunch? You could go natural with Robert Redford, or pig out and have a never-ending lunch with The Never-Ending Story, or meet Elizabeth Taylor for some little finger sandwiches. In the evening, forget the news. It's too depressing. Have dinner with Sinatra, or Duvall, or the Muppets. Who knows what they eat? And on Fridays, have a TGIF barbecue with movies like Hot Stuff and Feed the Neighborhood. HBO's got a great movie for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every weekday. Imagine you could retire now and watch HBO the rest of your life, because HBO shines in the daytime.
Back at City Park South, and the Buckaroos have tied the ball game, knotted it at 2, and the Boulder Valley Comets coming to bat.
Williamson now facing the opening batter here at the bottom of the 5th. Anna Penny. No, I checked that. They made a substitution now. Shelby Davis has entered the game for Anna Penny in the center field position, and she takes a swing and a miss, and that'll be strike 1. The Buckaroos have knotted it up at 2. Williamson bounces one in the dirt. It'll be 1-1.
It's another daughter of one of the coaches, Don Davies, out here. So he's got a daughter named Dawn. That's D-A-W-N. And, of course, Shelby Davis. So, again, if they hit anything like their father, it's going to be quite a show here.
I noticed she looked over here, and, you know, he threw a rock at you before the game started. You didn't see that, but he said, he's here? And I said, yes. And that'll be a strike at the outside corner.
You can't trust those guys, you know?
You can't. You can't. Just dropping your name in places, Doug, it's dangerous.
Yes, it's. I just can't go anywhere these days. I don't know.
It'll go to 1-2 now. Shelby Davis making her first appearance of the ball game. Almost caught the letters. Williamson thought she had strike 3, but that's not the ruling. The count will go to 2-2 here at the bottom of the 5th. What a gorgeous day for softball.
We know we got all the Buckaroo coaches right here next to us, so if you hear anything on a close call, at least for the pitcher Williamson, you're going to hear it first right here.
Williamson taking her time, takes a long look, shakes off the first 3 signs. Do they have 4? There's a changeup, strike 3. And there's 1 out. Davis thought she might have gotten a piece of that ball. I'm not sure.
Never hurts to run down on a third strike. The first base umpire, or first base coach rather, can always say, "Hey, that's far enough."
That's right. So we're going to have to check the lineup to see who's batting now, because there are such free substitutions here for the Boulder Comets. But there's 1 out here at the bottom of the 5th. We can tell you that. Williamson staying in there, only giving up those 2 runs. And the first pitch is low for ball 1.
It appears to be Shelly Nelson who is in there right now for the Boulder Valley Comets.
So Shelly, the 3rd substitute behind Jenny Peterson and Shelby Davies. So Nelson now. Swing and a miss. and that'll even the count at 1-1. The Buckaroos, certainly a great organization, as Jerry Brummett said, growing by leaps and bounds each and every year.
You can tell how much they've hustled if you ever come out to a ball game and see all the banners that they have out of all the individual corporate sponsors that they have.
You bet. Williamson throws a pitch. Nelson swings and misses. It is now 1-2. As she licks her finger, she's not legally on the mound site as she walks back up to the rubber. And everybody's ready here in the infield, so she's going to try the 1-2 pitch. Low and inside. That'll even the count at 2. The Boulder Comets, again by forfeit, have won this junior section of this tournament. The Buckaroos at 20-12 just kind of playing to get some practice in here, and boy, they've sure given the Comets a ball game.
Doesn't hurt when you got state 1 week away.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. There's going to be a fly ball to center field. That should be an easy out, and it is. The catch out there by Rasmussen, and we quickly have 2 outs.
But again, good lift up there by Shelly Nelson as she hit the ball well, but got it too much up in the air. And that's going to bring up Jenny Peterson, who has been on the mound for the Comets. She's going to have her first opportunity at the plate today.
And she's batting in the 9th position. She came in for Borkus, who actually started the game in at the pitcher position. It's 2-2 in the bottom of the 5th, 2 outs, and there's a swing and a miss on a ball that didn't quite make home plate.
I'm not sure Jenny. I like a replay on that. I'm not sure that she really knew where that ball was.
I don't know, but there's a big smile on Carolyn Williamson's face. That's the easiest strike she'll ever get. So it's 0-1, and that pitch was a little bit closer to home plate, but it was not swung at.
I think she would thought if she swung at 1, maybe she'll swing at 2. Huh?
Golfing anyone. 1-1 now. Jenny Peterson, who's pitched a fine ball game for the Comets again since coming in for Borkus. And there's the changeup. Just missed the outside corner. Some of the Buckaroo fans here didn't agree with that call, but it's now 2-1.
Pulled the string on that one, Frank. And again, Williamson doing a fabulous job and just mixing up the pitches and doing it very well.
Looks like she might be getting a little bit tired out there. And there is a called strike.
Well, if you think she was getting tired, I think that pitch took that away.
I think that was directed at me. The count goes to 2-2 now. Jenny Peterson, who was not officially batted yet today, as far as Borkus, she did get to bat in the 3rd inning, and she reached base on a walk but did not score. There's another changeup. Tap right back to Williamson, over to first, and we've got the 3rd out for the inning. And we're still tied after 5 complete, 2-2.
And this game, again, moving along very quickly as the game just, both teams playing very, very well. And, it's just a lot different. You see some good caliber ball. And it appears that Heidi Platt now will be pitching for the Boulder Valley Comets as she moved out to the home plate umpire, Dwayne Settle, to get the game ball. And so she now will move to the mound. And the Boulder Valley Comets, again, changing people around. So we've got all kinds of changes out there, and we'll just try to keep up with them the best we can.
Platt, by the way, started the game at second base. Moving over to second base is Shelly Nelson. And now playing first base is number 56, Dawn Davies. So
they've got
changes.
And you got to understand, Frank, and anybody who is in this type of softball realize that you do have the re-entry rules. So if you take somebody out, as long as they come back in their same batting position, they can come back into the ball game. So the re-entry rule being used here by the Comets. That's why you see first baseman Dawn Davies back out there again after she was taken out.
And now leading off the top of the 6th as a 2-2 ball game for the Buckaroos, Lori Shea. Batting at the 5th position. She is 0 for 1 officially. She walked back in the 2nd and was stranded by the Bucks at second base. And then over in the 4th inning, she grounded out to the shortstop. So she is, again, officially 0 for 1, trying to get something started. She got some words of encouragement here along the first baseline from one of the co-coaches, Karen Schubert, again, along with Glenn Stull, the head coach of the junior Buckaroos.
Heidi Platt's kind of funny out there. I was talking to her about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she said, "Well, the only thing that I'm doing well is right now I'm up 4-3." And I said, "Up 4-3? What does that mean?" I've had my picture in the paper 4 times to 3 to the next girl for the Comets. So don't tell me they don't look for the limelight. Huh?
That's right. That's right. There's a ball high to Lori Shea. In the on-deck circle is Jenny Schubert, who already is 1 for 1. She's got her warm-up jacket partially on, partially off. There's the 1-0 pitch, just nipped the outside corner. It'll go to 1-1. Pretty much straightaway infielders at the corners generally will be up a little bit with nobody out toward the beginning of an inning, especially toward the top half of the lineup. There's a ground ball right up the middle. Didn't even reach anybody until it hit the center fielder. And so there's a clean base hit for Lori Shea, who is now 1 for 2.
Buckaroos have hit the ball well in this ball game. There's no doubt about it. And we've seen 3 Comet pitchers, and they have not shown any favoritism. Frank, they've hit each one very well.
And this is not Schubert. We're going to correct that. This is Carolyn Williamson, the pitcher. She is 0 for 2 officially for today. She grounded out on a force play in the second inning and also has grounded out pitcher to first. So she's 0-2. She lays down a great bunt right out in front. And the throw to first is going to go right down the first baseline, but it is backed up by the right fielder for the Comets. And so what it's going to be is Buckaroos on first and second and nobody out.
It was a bad throw by the third baseman. She was there in plenty of time. Alvarez was there, could have made the play. It just didn't work out that way. She threw the ball into right field, but fortunately enough, the right fielder there for the Comets, that's Brett Wright out there, and only allows the base runners to move up 1 base. So runners at first and second now.
And you can smell rally. Nobody out. Neiswender, Carrie Neiswender, the second baseman. She's reached base safely twice in a walk and on a single. And she's going to try and advance the runners with a bunt and a very high fastball. It goes off her bat and goes all the way to the backstop. So she's down 0-1 now.
Looking to bunt, looking to move the runners over. When you're in this no-out situation, that's the most. That's really the best thing to do.
And Varenwald now swinging a couple of bats to the on-deck circle, looking to do something when she gets up next. There's a pitch very inside. There's going to be a throw down to second base to try and get Lori Shea. Nice toss there by the catcher for the Comets.
And that, of course, was the center fielder, Anna Penny, sneaking in behind. And that's exactly what they did on that particular play. And the catcher, Stewart, rifled it down. Anna Penny sneaking in behind the runner.
These girls can be sneaky out here.
Look at the third baseman and the first baseman move in. And again, the ball fouled off.
Another high fastball. And again, you've got to cringe every time that third baseman for the Comets comes in that fast Lonia Alvarez. Because if somebody ever squared away and lit one up, boy, it would be very interesting.
Well, you always look for the fake bunt and hit away is what they call, and if you've got that's very effective if you got the third baseman and first baseman just charging too closely.
On a 1-2 count, Neiswender faked the bunt, as you just said, Doug, and went back into the hitting position and just did get a piece of the ball. And I think that shook up the catcher for the Comets a little bit.
When you got a situation where you're looking at 2 strikes, of course, if they foul it off, she's going to be out. So she's got to be swinging away. That's what you got to believe, and of course she is.
And she's been a little bit high on these pitches. And so the count goes even at 2-2, and we could see the start of a Buckaroos rally here at the top of the 6th. We're all knotted at 2.
Comets doing a little bit different, though. The center fielder is coming in to cover second. Shortstop goes to third.
And there's a ground line shot that gets knocked down by the pitcher, and her only play is to first. A nice play.
Well, Heidi Platt did a great job in just knocking that ball down, and then very wisely and trying to, to pick off the lead runner or go to second for a double play. She just said, hey, I'm going to get the easy out, and she went right to first. Throw was just a tad bit high, but when you got Don Davies out there at first base, she's able to give you a good reach.
Coming up is Varenwald, who is 0 for 1, but she's got runners at second and third, and they were going to try and bring them home on the bunt, I think, and that'll get called for a strike. Varenwald grounded out her first time up.
Well, the strategy here still is to keep the ball on the ground, make the infielders handle it, and maybe push it by that third baseman. And she's trying to do it, but again, fouls the ball off. And right now, the Buckaroos having a little trouble in bunting that ball down.
We've got Lori Shea at third. She got there by a single. Carolyn Williamson on second. And she got on via an error, throwing error to first base. Yeah, they would like nothing better than to come around here and take the lead here for the Buckaroos. And the 0-2 pitch, and it is fouled off just to get a piece of it. Hit the caging in front of the Buckaroos dugout.
You can tell Heidi Platt's way ahead of these hitters as they're way behind on the swing. And Heidi's got that really quick motion. If you watch her motion out there, it's very, very fast.
Varenwald hanging in there. She knows she's got a swing.
Whoa, and I know that she was thinking high on that. And Heidi Platt sneaks away with the strikeout.
I think we can safely say that was strike 3. We were talking about she had to swing, but she didn't think it was strike 3 either. But there are now 2 outs with 2 on. And coming to the plate, Tammy Maxwell, who flied out to center, her only appearance in the 5th, and she takes strike 1. And she's got a very important job now, trying to at least bring one run home, the lead runner on third base now.
Well, this would be a golden opportunity that slips away from the Buckaroos if they cannot score here.
That one's a bit high. It'll go to 1-1. Again, lots of signs being flashed by head coach Glenn Stoll down at third. And I think what he's saying is, let's at least get some wood on the ball here and put it somewhere. You never know what's going to happen.
Or aluminum, however you look at it.
That's right. That's right. And there's a high pop-up. It's going to go to the right side of the infield, and that is caught by the second baseman for the Boulder Comets, Shelley Nelson. And that'll wrap it up. So the Buckaroos, via 1 hit and 1 error, strand 2 after 5.5. That's it.
And, of course, as we look at as the Buckaroos take the field, we'll take another timeout for our pinch hits. This time, we're going to be talking about the art of third base coaching. We'll be back after this.
Columbine Cablevision Softball Tip of the Week. With me is Jerry Horak, who's going to talk about third base coaching.
Thanks, Lou. Third base coach's job is to help the runners out. One of the runners he's supposed to help out is when the runner going from first to second, when that runner's rounding second base, whether to tell them to stop at second base or whether to tell them to keep coming to third. When they're on their way to third base, the coach's next job is to decide whether the runner has to stand up or whether that runner should slide. And it really helps when the coach gets down low to really tell the runner that's what to do. A lot of people might think the coach isn't allowed to go out of the box, but they really are allowed to go out of the box to help the runners as long as they don't get involved in the play nor touch the runner. The other situation is when a runner is rounding third base or coming to third base and whether that runner should score or not. The best place for the coach to stand is not at the base. It's better for the coach to move down the line here about 10 or 15 feet and tell the runner very clearly, as that runner's rounding the base, it lets the runner round the base instead of having to make his decision at third base, whether to stay at third or whether to keep coming all the way in and score the run which wins the game.
Well, with the third base coach out there, Bill Platt of the Boulder Valley Comets, with our pinch hit message on third base coaching. Once in a while, we'll flash out to Bill. You can see him go through those signals out there. He touches the bill of the cap, and of course the belt buckle, and the girls look at him like, "Hey, what was that? what signal
Flash
was that for?"
again.
Or he gets on his knees out there and prays for the home run. One of the two. That's what you do in the third base box.
By the way, the score is 2-2 here. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Boulder Comets leading off with Chris Gaiman. She's at the top of the order. She's 0 for 2. She grounded out to short and struck out. So she's certainly looking to get on base at least 1 out of 3. There's a high pop-up on the left side of the infield. The third baseman for the Buckaroos reaches up and makes a big catch. Denise Erickson over there. So we've got 1 easy out.
For a minute there, she made it look like an adventure, but came up with the ball, and that's all that matters.
Call that a fly ball? No. That's 1 out, and we've got the second batter, Britt Wright, coming up now.
I think we do have a change here. I don't think that's Britt. Let's see if we can get a number on her. I think they've made another change over here, but let's check it, Frank.
All they've got left is Mindy Kelly, so we would assume that's who it is. Mindy Kelly is coming in to bat for Britt Wright. She most likely will be playing the right field position. As far as Britt leaving the ball game, she was 1 for 2, did make it 0 for 1, but she did score one of the runs here this afternoon after that walk. Here comes the pitch, and it just missed inside. Williamson pitching a whale of a ball game. She has nobody to worry about on base, but she does have a bit of a behind on the count here to the girls just entered the game, Mindy Kelly. There's a changeup. Kelly way out in front.
Williamson has went the whole way, and I'll tell you what, Frank, she is really, you're right, has pitched a whale of a softball game here. Her selection has been just fabulous. I don't know whether to, give all the credit to Williamson or if she's looking over here at Glenn Stoll and getting the calls, but she's doing a great job.
There's going to be a little tapper right out to Williamson. She'll go to first with it, and easily 2 outs as Mindy Kelly taps back to the mound. And unlike the Buckaroos, who threatened here in the top part of the 6th, the bottom of the 6th, the Comets, at least to now, have gone down quietly, and that'll bring up Lanya Alvarez. And she started the game at third base. She remains there. She struck out in the first, but did score 1 of 2 runs for the Comets. She reached on an error and came all the way home.
Defensively, she's got a lot of action at third base so far this afternoon. She's done a great job and done not bad at the bat either.
And there's a ground ball to short. That'll be up and over to first, and that's it. Nice play over there for the Buckaroos by Denise Erickson, and Alvarez grounds out to short. And we've got no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. 1-2-3 inning after 6 complete. We're still tied at 2.
And we come into the 7th inning here, and you got to wonder how the Comets are going to talk. And Bill Platt coming over here, I'm wondering if they're saying if we go into extra innings, are we going to continue to play, call the game? Maybe that's not what he's thinking about, but I'd almost think so if these girls have played a lot of softball, and when this ball game really doesn't mean that much, if, Frank, they indeed will decide to go and play extra innings.
I think that's exactly what it's going to be, Doug. The only Buckaroo to not enter the ball game to this point is going to lead off the top of the 7th. For the Buckaroos, it'll be Becky Castillo, number 7.
Let's see what they have to say here. They're no, nothing really said, so we'll have to wait and see here. Geez, we get the pleasure of
red carpet.
We were gonna see if you wanted to go into extra innings here. We didn't know what.
No.
He looked back over here, and I wasn't too sure if he said yes or no.
I don't think he likes you, Doug.
Well,
I don't know.
Why should he? I mean, really. Let's be honest about the thing. I was waiting to see if he was going to, and I looked at him, and I kind of doubt that they would go play extra innings because of the situation. If you just joined us, it should be the Boulder Valley Comets out here in the A's of Denver. The A's of Denver left, they said they had too many injuries, did not want to participate in the championship game, so the Buckaroos just decided to come out here and give them a game.
And the first pitch, Castillo pops it up, and it goes right to the pitcher, Heidi Platt. So we quickly have one out here at the top of the 7th for the Buckaroos. And bringing up next now for the Buckaroos is Denise Erickson.
Appears to be the catcher, and she has really just had a good game all day today. She has done very well behind the plate.
She is 1 for 3, but she, one of those times got on via an error and scored one of 2 Buckaroo runs. So she's been productive. Anytime you can get on base and come around in a game that's only 2-2, you're getting the job done on the base pass. And there's a nice pitch for strike.
Buckaroos like to get something going right here, and again, interesting if we will go into extra innings if indeed this ball game ends after 7-2-2.
Renee is on deck, and there's a pitch, strike 2 now. Count will go to 0-2 as Heidi Platt reared back and threw that one right by Erickson.
Heidi Platt is one of the premier pitchers here on the Boulder Valley Comets. There's no question about it. She is in rotation with the Borkus, and that's the 2 big throwers here for the Comets, and as you can tell, Heidi thought she had the corner there.
I think she did. So Erickson just trying to get on by hook or by crook and try and get somebody around. And there's going to be a foul ball down the third baseline. The left fielder for the Comets running over there could not pull it in. That was Borkus over there.
Kelly Borkus now is in left field rather, and she gave it a good chase but couldn't quite come up with it.
So we're back at square one. Platt, I'm sure, looking for the strikeout. The Buckaroos doing a good job for not even planning to play today.
And there's the old string. She pulled the string. Heidi Platt looking over, of course, at her father, who is the head coach, Bill Platt, and saying, gee, I thought I was going to get away with that one.
Bill said no dinner tonight for that one. And no, he's a nice guy. And the count goes to 2-2 now. Make that 3-2. So Platt does not want to walk this better. There's a ground ball right back to Platt. Over to first, and there are 2 gone now easily here in the 7th for the Buckaroos. And that's going to bring up Dania Renee, who on the ball game is 0 for 3, including 2 strikeouts. So she'd certainly like to get on base somehow here. 2 outs, top of the 7th. We're tied. Boulder Comets and the Buckaroos. Buckaroos happen to be up. It's 2-2. Fastball on the outside corner. Caught Renee looking.
Heidi Platt just really just coming after every hitter. And when you're in a 2-2 ball game right now, it's just time to rear back and throw the softball.
That one, a little bit perhaps low as far as Buckaroo fans are concerned, but looked like it did at least catch the outside corner, be it low or not. So we're at 0-2. And Glenn Stoll certainly didn't like that call. And there's going to be a bounce. Strike 3. There's going to be a throw down to first anyway. It didn't have to be because it wasn't dropped. It was picked up out of the dirt, so that'll be no runs, no hits, no errors for the Buckaroos. After 6.5, it is now Buckaroos 2, Comets 2.
Just checking out here to see if we would have any conversation with Dwayne Settle, who is the home plate umpire as far as this ball game. Nobody seemed to be talking, but let's see if the Boulder Valley Comets, they have an opportunity here in the bottom of the 7th to end the ball game. We're tied at 2, and it's been a tough ball game the whole way around. And I think it's just so hard to call, Frank, when you really don't know how this championship ball game would have turned out. Obviously, the A's of Denver, a good and a fine softball team for the fact that they were going to be into the championship ball game.
I say we play 2. Dawn Davies is going to lead off the bottom of the 7th for the Comets. She started the game at first base. She is 0 for make that 0 for 1. She doesn't have an RBI. She grounded out back of the 2nd inning, hit a sacrifice fly to right field to bring around one of the Comet runs.
You know, when I played for many softball teams in my time, and anytime we got into tournaments like this, Frank, with double elimination, our motto was always drop 2 and barbecue. You know? And most of the time, Frank, we were able to do that very well.
Were you the captain of that team? I remember seeing you. But anyway, Carolyn Williamson, who started the game for the Buckaroos, remains in there. And she takes a heavy sigh, deep breath before she starts here at the bottom of the 7th. Dawn Davies, again, starting it for the Comets. Changeup, bounced way before the plate. That'll bring the count to 1-0.
You can hear the coaches over there yelling at Williamson, telling her to follow through, and she did not on that pitch, and invariably she put it in the dirt. So
the tournament tension, that's what's missing out of this ball game, I think.
Yeah, really it is. It's for a championship ball game, obviously, it's way too loose.
And there's going to be a fly ball to center field, and it looks like it's well under control. That'll be 1 out.
Buckaroo's just doing a good job out here this afternoon, really offensively and defensively. They only got 2 runs up, but they've hit the ball well and placed it well.
So that'll be 1 out now. Williamson again taking her time before she steps back into that mound area. Comets have 1 out. They have 2 more opportunities to try and bring that run around. It's Heidi Platt, who again has moved into the pitcher slot for the Comets and done outstanding. And as you mentioned, Doug, she along with Borkus make a great 1-2 pitching combination. On the day, Heidi Platt, though, 0 for 2, not as successful. 2 infield groundouts. And that'll be another ground ball over to short. Nice pickup to throw to first, and they got her. What a great play on the part of the Buckaroos. Melissa Rasmussen. Wow, what a play.
She picked it up on the short hop, and that's one of the toughest things for an infielder to do. And with that play, it's going to make it very hard now, and we might be headed for extra innings. Let's wait a minute here.
Batting for Kelly.
Okay, we've got a change over here, and it appears that Mindy Kelly will be batting here. Let's check, or wait a minute.
It'll be Shelby Davies.
Okay, Shelby Davies coming in to hit.
We want to make a note that Rasmussen started the game in center field, moved over to short. What a great play. 2 outs now. There's a ground ball. Same position over there. Long throw from short. That'll do it.
Got her.
Nice play. Shelby Davis gets thrown out by Rasmussen, who makes 2 gems of a play. And at the end of 7, it's 2-2. And it looks like the Comets are going to take the field for the top of the 8th.
We're going to play this out like a real game, and I think that's a tribute to the Comets because really, Frank, I think at this point, if they didn't want to, if they would have come to the umpires or even to Jerry Brummett and say, hey, listen, we gave this game here and we played 7, that's enough, and we'd like to go home. I don't think there's anybody who could really say, hey, no, you're going to finish this out. But, hey, they're really good competition. They're very competitive. And this rivalry here, let's be honest, has been a really good one. Bill Platt is going to come out here and chat a little bit, and he still might be thinking about that, but he's going to let his people come out here and play. And
that's class. It really is.
Okay, re-enter Stewart is what they're talking about here, so I believe that's the catcher that Kelly Stewart will be back into the ball game. So everybody, I tell you what, everybody's had a look this afternoon in this ball game, no question about it.
And I've always wanted to say this, Doug, during a baseball broadcast. Melissa Rasmussen's going to lead off the top of the 8th. And how often do you see when somebody makes a great defensive play, they come and lead off the inning, huh?
You've been watching a little bit too much of that NBC Game of the Week.
Joe Garagiola gave me that one, and there's a swing and a miss, and that'll be strike 1 for Heidi Platt on the pitcher's mound. Top of the 8th, we're tied at 2 in a junior game here at City Park South.
Go, Melissa!
We're up in the air as far as how many innings you're going to be playing here. We're into extra innings as the second pitch of the inning goes high and outside on Rasmussen, so it'll be 1-1.
Could it be one of those marathons, 19, 20-inning game?
It could. The Expos.
I'm looking forward to it.
Swing and a miss on the part of Rasmussen. It'll be 1-2. She's 0 for 2 on the day. Again, started in center, moved to short, and has made a good showing for herself.
Whoa, and I thought it may have hit her. She backed away and got out of the way of the pitch, but that was high and inside, and I thought it may have touched her.
That one will, that's a Bob Gibson pitch there, that I'm out here on the mound pitch. It's 2-2 now with that high inside pitch, and there's a pitch that just missed the outside corner. Platt wanted strike 3. So did the Comet catcher, Kelly Stewart, but they didn't get it, so we've got a full count now and a great opportunity for the Buckaroos to get somebody on.
Kelly Stewart even saying, come on.
And there's a foul back. It's going to hit the screen by the broadcast table, so the count stays at 3-2.
You know, the only thing that I'm really upset about, Frank, in this whole broadcast is you promised me that in one of these ball games you would lead the crowd and take me out to the ball game, and you just didn't do it today.
Holy cow. Well, maybe not. Here we go, 3-2 on Melissa Rasmussen. And I think she checked her swing. It was low. The question was whether she checked her swing or not. They checked with the base umpire, who said no go. And Rasmussen is down at first base via the walk route. And I look for the Buckaroos to perhaps bring Rasmussen to second on a bunt.
Lori Shea now the batter for the Buckaroos, and with the leadoff batter on first.
And there's a steal anyway.
And if she still got the ball, she's out. No, she dropped the ball. And that's the only reason that she was safe at second base. That throw was right on the money, and Rasmussen got away with it because the ball was dropped by the shortstop, Kamen.
You were right, boy. What a throw from Stewart to Kamen. Kamen laid the tag on, but a great play by Rasmussen. Kind of kicked the ball out of the mitt there. It took a while to get the final decision because there was some dirt. So now we've got a runner on second, nobody out. There's just a tap to third. The throw will go to first for the out, and on the throw, Rasmussen heads over to third and may come home. She will come home. They won't even have a throw. The wild throw to third, and Rasmussen, not only as a defensive star, comes home to take the lead for the Buckaroos.
You know what's funny about that play is that the Boulder Valley Comets did everything right. Alvarez got the ball. She looked back the runner at second, then made the throw, but Rasmussen was very intent on going to third, and going to third, the throw was a little bit low, got by the third baseman, got by the left fielder, and all the way to the fence, and that allowed Rasmussen to score the go-ahead run. But really, for the Comets, they did everything right on that play. Just didn't work out.
They did, and that throw, I'm surprised that as much mustard as it did to skip on down the third baseline. So we have nobody on, one out, but the Buckaroos have scored here in the top of the 8th to take a 3-2 lead right now. Up for the Buckaroos pitcher Carolyn Williamson, who's 0 for 3 on the day. She did reach base on an error by that same third baseman who made that play over there for the Boulder Comets, Solania Alvarez. So she has been on base but has not scored. Platt, fastball, and a bit behind was that one was Williamson, so the count's going to go to 2-1 now with one out.
Well, Williamson has done a great job on the mound for the Buckaroos. She's swinging the bat well. She's got to be very happy with her afternoon. Even win or lose, and they're ahead right now.
And the on-deck circle now for the Buckaroos is Carrie Neiswind, who's had a good ball game also. There's a called strike 2. The count's going to be even now. Heidi Platt has come back from a 2-0 count now to make it 2-2. And I think she's a little upset that that run came around in from third, but she's going to have to forget about that right now.
You know, theoretically, Rasmussen should have been thrown out at second. That was a fabulous throw by the catcher, Stewart. Right on the money, but Kamen just couldn't hold on to it, and as it turns out, it was a very costly mistake for the Comets.
You know, we've seen some good players here today, Doug, but I think overall the best position catcher. We've seen some great catchers today, and there's a foul back. Williamson stays alive. Certainly Kelly Stewart has a gun behind the plate.
I think you're absolutely right. Every one of the ball games, the catcher for both ball clubs have hustled, been exactly where they should be. A couple of plays at the plate, they've held their ground and taken the knocks, Frank. And it's the catchers. I would have to say, if we had to give an MVP to everybody today, it'd be the catchers.
Another foul back by Williamson. This one clears the backstop, clears the
right where my car is.
Grandstand, and better call Mako.
I was going to say, I would have a little chat with Heidi and have her pitch a little differently there if they're going to foul him off like that.
Count remains at 3-2. Williamson just looking to get one out of the infield. That'll be ball 4, very high, very wide. Williamson gets the free pass down to first, so she'll be on first with one out. She is now, again, 0 for 3, but has been on base twice. And coming up now, Neiswinder. Neiswinder on the day, 1 for 2. She walked, she is singled, and she is grounded out to the pitcher. So she comes on, 1 out, and pitch by Platt called to strike. right across the letters.
Well, Heidi Platt, I think, getting a little bit frustrated because she hasn't got the close calls, and a couple plays in the infield have put her behind a little bit. But really, she's got to just concentrate on the batter, work it that way.
Can you imagine the confidence builder this would be for the Buckaroos if they could hold on for this one heading into the state playoffs? We've got a pinch runner now for the Buckaroos. Kim Wall is going to re-enter the game.
Well, the thing about it is, and I think they're allowing it right here, is you can have a courtesy runner throughout the ball game in these. So I don't think Williamson is out of the ball game. They're just getting a courtesy runner so she can rest and be ready to pitch. So that is allowable.
Swing and a miss, and Neiswender behind on the count now. I think you're right, Doug. Wall, by the way, did start the game in left field. She got up once, she drew a walk, and also scored. So she's going to try and score again via the courtesy runner position. And the count is 1-2 now as Platt misses. Neiswender steps out of the box to get some signals.
Baseball has changed, Frank. You've got the re-entry rule. You've got the courtesy runner. The day of the iron ball player is over.
Ball inside. Do you have burn up on re-entry, though? That can happen now. And the count evens at 2-2.
Heidi Platt wanted that foul ball that finally comes back into the field to play, and a lot of times you'll see that from a pitcher. She kept looking over there, and she was looking at her coaches saying, hey, let's run down that ball. I don't want to throw this other one, and now she's got that ball back.
Well, no, that's a good point, and that one's low for ball 3, so now a 0-2 count has gone to 3-2. Sometimes you pitch with one of those little scuffed up ones, and they give you one of the brand new ones. It's a little hard to handle, so I think that's exactly what it was, but she's down 3-2 now. Wallace at first. And here comes the 3-2 pitch, and it's called third strike. Neiswender is out. The throw to first not in time to pick off Wall, so we've got 2 outs now. Neiswender a little surprised with the call, but there's 2 outs nonetheless. And coming up with 2 outs now, Varenwald, who is 0 for 2, grounded out to the pitcher and has struck out. So it's up to her to try and get another insurance run for the Buckaroos. First pitch a bit high and outside. 1-0. Outfielder's playing a little bit deep here.
Well, right now they can't afford to let anything go by them, Frank. That's the whole thing, because they've already let the go-ahead run come in, and now they got to be careful they don't allow that to happen.
Excuse me, swing to Alvarez, who guns it to first, and that'll do it. But the Buckaroos score 1, and after 7.5, it is now the Buckaroos 3 and the Comets 2.
And with this, the Comets now coming up to the bottom half of the 8th inning. They've got to come up with a run, obviously, or this ball game's over. But the Boulder Valley Comets, again, put on a good show this afternoon, along with the Buckaroos. Boy, you really got to say a lot for the Buckaroos. They've come out here and played a great ball game, and Williamson has really done a good job in the fact that she has pitched a fabulous game, and she's going to, get the complete game here. I think, win or lose, they're going to let her throw, and she's done a great job out there and really shown that she's got the stamina to throw a full game, not only a full game, now an extra inning game.
And you're right, they did use that pinch runner rule to give Williamson some rest, and I think it was a good idea because it didn't take long before she's back out there pitching. And we're ready to go at the bottom of the 8th. The Boulder Comets trail by 1. Williamson.
Buckaroos 3 outs away from a win right here.
And leading it off for the Boulder Comets, I believe, is going to be Jenny Peterson. And she steps in, big right-hander. Williamson kind of looking down, taking that deep breath.
Well, you got to believe it. The Comets now will re-enter their big guns as far as the bat is concerned. Try to pick up this 1 run.
And there's a fastball on the outside corner, had Peterson looking.
And Williamson still throwing with some heat out there. Just doing a fabulous job this afternoon.
I don't think she's going to throw, at least not at the outset, anything but fastballs. She's going to try and get that thing over the plate. There's another fastball, ground to third. Long throw across the diamond, no problem. There's one off for the Buckaroos. Dania Renee over there at second base made the long throw across the diamond to first baseman Carrie Neiswender, who now has moved over to first, and we've got 1 down now.
And that was Anna Penny batting, Frank, that she's the center fielder this afternoon.
Well, she certainly looked like Jenny Peterson.
Yeah,
but,
we got Shelly Nelson stepping into the box right now.
And Shelley has flown out to center field in her only time up. She entered the game as a substitute in the 5th inning. And the first pitch misses for ball 1. Again, 1 out, bottom of the 8th. If the Buckaroos can hang on, this thing is over.
And the run scored in the top half of the 8th inning on an error.
Nelson way in front of the batter's box. There's a fastball low. And, oh, boy, they asked the appeal on the first base umpire, who said that Nelson did go around.
Wow.
That was close.
That was a very close call.
It'll be 1-1.
I was surprised. I was looking for it to go the other way. That shows how much I know.
The 1-1 pitch bounces and hits Nelson, but nonetheless it hits her, and so that'll bring her down to first base. And so we've got the tying run on first with one out in the form of Shelley Nelson.
And Bill Platt coming in. Let's see if we can pick up some conversation. Oh, no, we just have another change coming up here. Courtesy runner is going to come in for Nelson. So obviously we'll try to pick up the number here, but we'll have a courtesy runner for Nelson, and they'll probably put one of their big people on here that can really motor around the bases.
At Borkus, who started the game in a pitcher position, is going to be batting, and so far she did get on via a walk.
And trying to pick up who's on first, still have not seen the number. It's going to be Greninger, who is going to be running at first.
And she started the game in left field, so a lot of substitutions.
And there she goes.
There she goes on a missed bunt attempt by Borkus, and she's going to be safe. The question was, did she roll off the bag there?
Almost
but she did not.
Heads-up play by the shortstop, keeping the tag right on her.
Love to see these girls run, because that now puts that tying run at second. And only one out here in the bottom of the eighth. Williamson a little bit panicked now, perhaps.
Comets coming at him right now. You bet.
But she's done it all game long, so there's the square around. Borkus pops it up behind home plate, and it's going to roll foul. And that was kind of some trickery to get the runner over to third, perhaps even get an overthrow on first. Anything can happen.
Well, you're looking to, again, advance the runner. That's exactly what they're looking at, and maybe even getting on base, because if you can move that runner to third, still only having one out, chances of you then bringing that runner home is very, very good, and that's what the Comets are just playing the averages here.
Borkus lays down a beauty, down to the third baseman, up, throw, we got two outs. And another nice play by Renee on third base, and there's two down now, runner at third, and this is it.
And this will bring up the top of the order. This is Chris Kamen. And how would you like to have her situation right now? Two down, the tying run at third. Anything out of the infield on the ground is going to tie up this ball game.
Kamen's 0 for 3 on the day. She's grounded to short, struck out, and hit a pop-up to the shortstop.
Fly ball will not do it in this situation with two down.
Infield straight away, as is the outfield. Williamson, big windup. First pitch, ground foul by the third base side. She dropped her bat a little bit late. So the count goes to 0-1.
You know, Williamson, though, you still have to give her a lot of credit. We're moving now through 8 innings of play. She's had a lot of pitches out there, and she continues to remain strong.
And I'm sure she'd like the strikeout. She'd like any kind of an out, but she'd certainly like the strikeout. And I have the feeling she's going to use some heat. There it is, a changeup. Shows how much I know. And that was called outside for 1-1.
Well, the situation is that she wants to keep that batter guessing because, again, a good solid single is going to tie this game up.
Kamen in the batter's box, has not flinched. Grounds another one almost identical to that first foul ball, and now she's down 1-2. And I have to give her a lot of credit not for going for that changeup on 0-1. She could have been suckered in very easily, but she had the patience to sit there and let that thing roll outside. So it'll be 1-2 now. Williamson trying to end this game. It is 3-2 Buckaroos here in the bottom of the 8th at City Park. Here's the windup. Here it comes. Changeup. Ground fouled again down the third base side.
And Chris still remains alive with the foul ball, and tension mounting here as you can hear the predominantly Buckaroo crowd behind us here.
And we do have some Boulder Red over here, but as you said, a lot more Buckaroo fans here. So here we go again. It is 1-2. Runner on third, 2 outs. That runner would be the tying run. Ground line shot off the third baseman. The throw. No, it's not in time. The ball game is tied up. Almost ended the game. Renee with a great stab, but she dropped it simply because it was a shot.
I'll tell you what a fabulous play by the third baseman. And I thought she had it. I thought Renee had that ball, and I think she thought she had it too. But once she dropped it, though, Frank, you knew that runner at first was going to be safe because motoring down the line was Chris Kamen. She knew that she had to hustle down that first baseline. So we're tied at 3.
Give Kamen credit. She hit that one right on the button. That's going to be a base hit all the way. As far as I'm concerned, a wild pitch now will bring Kamen all the way to second. And suddenly the complexion of this entire ball game has changed on one pitch.
Well, if Mindy Kelly now, who is the batter, can hit one out of the infield, I'm sure that the third base coach, Bill Platt, will be sending Kamen all the way. And when you're away from home, the object is you try to win it at any risk, so you can bet that they'll be taking chances here.
There's a foul tip, so the runner will not be allowed to advance. Kamen's going to have to go back to second. What a shot she hit. Almost pulled out of the air by Dina Renee, who has made some spectacular plays at third, just couldn't hold on, so that's a
What's pretty fabulous about that is the entire bench for the Buckaroos thought the game was over. They thought that Renee had held on to it.
Changeup is going to be high and outside. It's going to bring the count to 2-1. Not so important now with first base open to really pitch right now.
Well, you just don't want to give up something that's nice and fat because, again, like you say, you can afford the walk in this situation.
There's ball 3.
You know, a lot of coaches right here would say, hey, listen, really instead of trying to challenge that hitter, you know, throw something on a corner or something like that, you know, maybe trick her into a swing. You don't want to just completely throw it away. But, you know, just don't lay up anything fat in this situation.
Mindy Kelly has been up once before. She tapped out to the pitcher. And she draws a walk on 5 pitches. So that's going to put runners on first and second. And I believe we've got Alvarez coming up now.
And I heard a fan behind us, and he's very, very true. Hey, that didn't hurt at all, really. With first base open, that doesn't hurt.
No, it just sets up the force play, and Lanya Alvarez is going to be the batter. Checking with Platt, the third base coach. And she's going to step into the right side of the plate because she's got the game in her hands right now. Basically, even a single with the runner moving Kamen on second. I'm sure that would most likely bring her around. Swing and a miss. And was that ruled a foul ball? Yes, it was.
I'm really surprised. I did not think it was a foul ball. But Dwayne Settle, the home plate umpire, quickly hollered foul, and the runners go back to their respective bases.
So the player in the limelight right now is Chris Kamen, who drilled in the winning run and now is in the form of the winning run here in the bottom of the 8th with a 3-3 game. She's at second base. There's a ball low, and Kamen taking a long lead off second. Alvarez so far is 0 for 3. She has struck out, reached on an error, and scored, and has grounded out to the shortstop. Shaking out the sign, Williamson. Here comes the windup. Changeup. Outside.
If you don't think the Comets are excited, if we can get a shot of that, the entire bench is standing up over on the third base side. They are standing up, looking at this ball game, and very intently in the fact that you know, a lot rides on it now. It was all for fun, but now we got a 3-3 ball game, and they're looking to try to win it.
Playing for pride, 2-1. There's a pitch on the inside corner, and it is fun to see. This rivalry alone is what is keeping this game on to the 8th inning. 2-2 now on Alvarez.
And as you get the picture now, you can see all the Comets are right at the front of the dugout standing. And a lot riding on the shoulders here of Alvarez. Big pitch coming right here.
Williamson at 2-2. Fastball drilled into left field, base hit. Kamen is holding up at third.
I'm surprised. I am really surprised with 2 out that they held that runner, Frank.
I am too, because...
and for the Buckaroos, that could be a blessing in surprise.
Dawn Davies now with the bases loaded, 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. That's their situation. The game is tied at 3-3. The Buckaroos went ahead with a run at the top of the 8th. The Comets have come back and tied it up in the bottom of the 8th. What a nice shot there by Alvarez to left field, but it was hit so much on the money that that runner was held up, I guess, is what the thinking was there.
Well, the thing about it is, too, you're looking at your number 4 hitter coming up, and if you have all the faith in the world that she can get a base hit, then why not?
There it is. It's over. And that'll end it.
And you know, it's a shame right there as Williamson pitched such a brilliant ball game for the Buckaroos, and now to lose it in the bottom of the 8th by a score of 4-3. And you know, for a ball game that wasn't a championship ball game, again, because the A's of Denver were supposed to be here and the Buckaroos showed up instead. What a great game.
And just exciting because Boulder's a great team. You know, a mark of a great team is they fell behind going into the bottom of the 8th and they came up with 2 of their own, and that's just a sign of a very solid ball club.
And we'll wait to see if, again, we have the presentations, and I imagine we will. But what it's going to be is the Comets were the #1 team for the juniors, and the A's of Denver, they will fall out of it completely because that will change the complexion of the way the trophies are handed out. So it's going to be interesting to see then who will get second and third. But we know that the Boulder Valley Comets are the winner of this tournament.
Also neat, Doug, the folks here in attendance did not leave either. We heard not one car start here. Everybody stayed throughout this game, 8 innings. Again, it was Boulder 4 and the Fort Collins Buckaroos 3.
We'll take a timeout with that final score from Frank Lazinski. We'll take a timeout, come back with the presentations and a wrap-up of our triple header this afternoon right after these words.
95 DJM. 95 DJM, 95 degrees. Oh, it's a scorcher. Get in that water.
Did you know there's a Red Cross chapter in your area that offers all kinds of different health and safety classes, such as first aid, water safety, and life-saving CPR? Last year, millions of people took these classes. Unfortunately, millions of others didn't.
What a day to be in the water!
Well, back at City Park South, the Fort Collins Buckaroos, I think in lieu of the A's of Denver leaving this afternoon, are going to get the second-place trophy. That was just awarded to them. Glenn Stull and his staff, what a great job. And, of course, if they'd have been here, it wouldn't have turned out that way. But the thing about it is that, what really turned that whole thing around was the A's of Denver leaving the situation and just really not telling anybody. This all of a sudden up and left. So it's going to be the second place will be handed to the Fort Collins Buckaroos, and why not? They put on a great ball game here, an 8-inning contest against the Boulder Valley Comets, and the Comets come up with a 4-3 win. But the one thing I'd have to say for that ball game was what a great performance put on by Caroline Williamson, the pitcher for the Buckaroos. Pitched the whole 8 innings, did a great job, and just can't say enough for her. I thought she just really put on a great effort and did a brilliant job.
Look out for that team at State, both of these teams. Anything can happen. They're so talented.
Jerry Brummett, of course, who is the director of this tournament, is on the mic right now and at the PA system. A great crowd here on hand. The Boulder Valley Comets are going to be presented with the first place trophy as they move out right now. Bill Platt and Don Davies, the coaches for the Comets. And great ball club that came up from Boulder. And, of course, you'll see all this action. If you want to see more of it, you can do it next Saturday because the state championship will be here at Roland Moore Field. And so Fort Collins, again, will see some more activity. But the Comets right now, given the presentation in lieu of their winning over the Fort Collins Buckaroos by a score of 4-3. And all the first-place teams we might mention got individual trophies along with the team getting the championship trophies. So a lot to be said for the Boulder Valley Comets and the Fort Collins Buckaroos. So we started out the afternoon with our ball game. The Boulder Valley Comets and the Fort Collins Buckaroos. It was the midgets 12 and under. Final score in that ball game was 15-5, with the Boulder Valley Comets defeating the Buckaroos. And then in the A's ball game, the Jays of Lakewood came up with a big ball game. They came up with a 5-2 victory over the Colorado Expos. The Jays of Lakewood, Colorado Expos from Jefferson County. That was the seniors, 5-2 final there. And then in the finale, really was not a sanctioned championship ball game, but nonetheless, I think really we saw that competition. Final scored the Boulder Valley Comets 4-3 over the Fort Collins Buckaroos in junior softball, and again, that was an 8-inning contest. So that'll do it for this afternoon. We got a lot of people to thank. First of all, our executive producer Tom Shetler at Channel 14, directors this afternoon Clay Paula and Lori Prather, the camera people out there, Diamond Jim Gallahue, what a great job, Gina Maharis and Lisa Pert, and of course the playback engineers Andy Bodette. So for Frank Lazinski of Kicks Radio, good luck to you and your Denver Bronco broadcast starting next week on Kicks. I'm Doug Sanderson saying so long, everybody, from City Park South and Fort Collins.